So Iggy,
Yeah, man.
tell me that thing of the one that you shake your voice. Yeah, that one. Okay.
You just enjoy what you're doing. So.
Well, I don't know what you do, but it's good. It's
Thanks,
good.
man.
It's
I
good,
really
man.
appreciate it. I really appreciate it.
Hello, my name is Josh. I'm no expert, but I can teach you a thing or two about being rich. This is Young Rich.
My real name's Roy Smith Mwatia. I'm 34 years of age. I'm the CEO of Lumsden Records, Rufftone International, and then King David Chariots. I've also invested in production, and this is where we are. This is called Lumsden Media, where we specialize in audio production and video production, commercials, and documentaries. I have a clothes line. It's called Rufftone International. I've ventured into, it's called King David's Chariot, whereby it's a fleet of car hire services. And apart from that, small interest into real estate. Should I give you a summary of everything? God help me. I think it should be like 35M. Yes, it should be around 35 million. I was born in Pumwani Hospital, and then my dad got transferred to Western Kenya, and then all of a sudden I found myself in Masai Mara, Kakamega. Yeah, you know, that place was just full of forest, monkeys, maperas. For those who don't understand, guavas. We would go fishing in the lake, I'm telling you the truth, and we didn't have even hooks. And we would take kettles for bullfighting and drink water. Our bashes used to be funerals, honestly speaking. That's when we'll get a chance to dance to music. It was so adventurous. I really love it, and I miss it too. My biggest drive to succeed was life. You were raised in a very humble background. We came from a family of about 5 to 7 children. We lived in a thatched house. When you're in a thatched house and your neighbor has a thatched house, that is life, and you don't even realize it. But there are times when manyasi ingeisha and then mvua ingenyesha, we were told to bring beseni to harvest the raindrops, and it was crazy. But again, that was part of adventure for us. After we went to high school, that's when you realize the students were coming from Nairobi. Some are talking about having holidays outside the country. Then that's when you realize, oh, there are things like those. But at the same time, you don't hate your background and you're not ashamed of it. You just use what you have that they do not have to floss. When we were still in Nairobi, I went to Umoja 1 Primary. Actually, I went to Umoja Catholic Nursery, then I went to Umoja Pre-Unit, then I went to Umoja 1 Primary School from class 1 to class 2. Then we got to go to Western. That's why I joined Nabongo Primary School in Kakamega. Then in class 4, I transferred to Kakamega Primary, and then I joined Mbale High School for 1 year. Then I transferred to Kakamega High School. I had to repeat, and I think that is where I discovered who I was. I took over, and I just loved it with everything in me. I got a mean grade of C plain, and from there I joined Buruburu Institute of Fine Arts before I went to Westlands Microbiological Institution of 3D and Model Making, where I came out with a distinction. I never understood biology. You are given something to look through, and then you are told you are looking into cells, and I remember membranes and some funny stuff, you know. But when you look through the microscope, it looks nothing compared to what is on the textbook. So I used to hate that. I don't know who on earth invented chemistry. I'm not against it, but I'm just like, that was not me. I really do not understand what it was all about also. I also hated electricity. and power mechanics. In Kakamega, kusota maze, it was the in thing, yani. You didn't have enough money to actually get all your half loaves. I had to come up with creative ways of earning money. And I remember many people used to fall in love, and we used to have girlfriends from like 8 schools. So they will write their funny letters, and then for me, they will bring me the final script, you know, and I will draw Flash Gordon or Donald Duck or Cupid, you know, and I will decorate it, and then I will use my, calligraphy skills to address the envelopes, and they'll give me 5 bob. And a quarter loaf was 4 bob then. And so you can imagine, during prep time, instead of studying, I was earning like 50, 70 or 100 shillings per night. So it was quite an adventure, and that's how I earned my first cash. I found myself pursuing music was when I was in a college, that is the Buruburu Institute of Fine Arts. On my second year, we used to have talents days. When I would rap, people would cheer. I remember that's the time Nation Media was just coming into play, and they introduced a new program called Shikamo. So I used to sneak from school and I would go take part into that program. And then after that, I remember they introduced another one called Warehouse. Again, I would sneak so much and I would be going there. I don't know, they got that register, the class register, and then the place written Smith Mwatia. Those are my official names from BIFA. And I would just see Monday X, Tuesday X, Wednesday X.
My name is SK Blue. I know Raf quite a bit. We were both in more or less the same predicament. We had both been chased away from home for wanting to do music. Music wasn't the most popular thing then. I had left home. I went into Inako Moja just to look for a place to stay. I met a lady who was kind enough to give me a store. Rufftone was not too far from the store I was. He was in a different store.
My name is Arnold Coril. I'm a video producer here at Lampstand Records, and I've known Rufftone, I think, for about 2 years now. Sometimes we sit down and just tells me about his past. He remembers this time that his parents were like, so what are you doing in Nairobi? How is your life there? And he was like, okay, I'm doing music. At the time, artists were not earning money as they are right now. So the thing was, how are you living? How are you making a living, really? Are you singing in bars and stuff? But he was like, no, I'm doing music for God. And if no one else has made it, I'll be the first.
We ended up moving in together. We didn't have anything. We had this small room. It was really tiny. Didn't have any window. I remember Raf suggesting that we should actually just put a curtain for the sake, so that people stop asking us where the window is. The funniest thing was when the visitors came in and they were always saying, let's open the window and find a wall.
It seemed music just took over me, and that's how I started. And I joined a studio. It was called Hills Media, courtesy of John Karani of KBC Beat Time and Raskip, and that's when I did my first single. It was called It's Up to You. And then I followed it up with another one called We Are the Real Men. Then I joined Ogopa DJ, but that time it just come from Pakistan. And I did my first secular raga bashment. It was called Meh. Yes.
Easy rents ni raf kushinda za tons. Yo, verse 2. Siku mingi nimetafuta ka opportunity ka kushine. Aya, yo, so nikisema yo, unasema
Yes, I began in secular music, and I did like 5 years. How I got saved, I believe God saved me. It was as simple as that. I got convicted, and when the Lord called out on me, by God's grace, I agreed. Not many people understood what it was all about. I even talked to my inner circle, and they were like, man, you're making the wrong move. So I was just about to release my first secular album. It was called Rough and Tough. It was not an easy thing to give it away. But you know what? When you have God, you never go wrong. So that's when I got born again, and after like 1 or 2 years, I did my first album, Mwikulu. I remember you'll take your music to be aired on radio, not on CD, not on tape, but on what we call a reel. A DJ would actually just anavuta kamba moja na kukuta reel to reel. My first big break came after I'd released my first gospel album.
We did a song, myself and Ruff. We produced the song as Sakata, but Sakata was just myself and my friend borrowing a software, asking someone to lend us with their computer, trying to make a track.
Some people call me Mike Sakata. Rufftone is a friend of mine from a long time ago. I knew him when we were starting our business, the Sakata Media. He was beginning as a rapper.
My name is Aliwa David. I'm born again Christian. I'm a gospel musician. Now to me, Rufftone is the guy who sacrificed those days when ilikuwa noma sana for some of us to penya. I remember by the time he was starting church, hawakuwa nakubali vitu kama kurapa ama kitu kama hiyo. But this guy had something in him. What we have experienced right now, Rufftone, me, I believe strongly that he must get some credit out of it.
I remember Ruff saying that this music that we're doing may not make sense, but it will feed us. Us guys used to call him Baba. At some point, we used to call him Adam. He was a pioneer, the guy who jumps out and tries it, regardless whether it will work or not work.
There were no young people doing it's called the contemporary or the modern gospel. With time, Kenyans adapted it, and those who had begun definitely got very good deals. So I got lots of invitations on crusades, even churches, and definitely the corporate world.
I remember the first year I got paid. It was like 500 bob. We were shocked, man. Ruff was living large. He was buying Coca-Cola. Coming from a background of having just to cook ugali, boil nyanyas, and everyone has a nyanya and ugali, and we basically call it a night. It was such luxury to see him buy Coke. We actually were shocked to be nominated for American Gospel Music Awards. And I remember us going to the embassy, and these guys were asking us, so where is your bank statement? Nothing. Who's hosting you? Nothing. What exactly do you guys do? We are musicians. If you're musicians, then sing. They said it sarcastically, but we sang. We sang, man, and everyone was just joining us at the embassy, and apparently they stamped our passports.
The biggest risk that I had to take was to go abroad and try my luck on a new industry that I'd never stepped in before.
We basically didn't have fare. All Ruff had, I remember to this day, was what he wore and like 10 CDs for sale. We just requested to perform as these African boys. They were impressed that they had these two acts from Africa.
Okay. Guess what?
They here?
They've added us more time. They say you want some more songs.
They gave us a chance. We did all we could. From there, doors started actually opening.
I started getting very lucrative contracts.
We had companies that wanted to sign us. If I may mention from what my deal was, which pretty much was almost the same as Rufftone's. $3 million, a house in Florida, bodyguards, cars for 10 years. As long as we agreed to be secular musicians.
It was by God's grace that I went and I saw and I was conquered. And then I came back home. Rufftone Records was established in 2004. It was a very tiny studio then. I just remember I had a plastic chair and the first computers with a very big kisogo, Our vision is to take gospel music to the international world without compromising quality. We want it to be the first and everything else will follow. Quality is our policy. Our aim was always to nurture the young artists and to turn them into big brands.
My name is Thomas Rodesh aka Tomaso, artist from Lamstan Records. Rufftone nilikuwa nasikia ngoma zake kwa radio wakati nilikuwa Nakuru, nikaulizia mahali Lamstan iko na nikakuja tukapatana na yeye, akanikaribisha hapa Lamstan na akanisaidia, yani amekuwa kama baba.
I started working with SK Blue and he became a very big brand, Rufftone. And then we've got my younger brother Daddy Owen, Dr. Eddie, there's Busy B, Teddy B, and then now we have Elijah who will be producing big acts like Kirk Franklin and the rest. And then we also have Arnold who's gonna be doing videos better than Titanic. It will be better than Titanic. My first million, I made it when I was, I got a very good contract with an NGO, and they'd assigned us to actually manage the event, and they actually contracted Lambston Media to do that, and they gave us a very good check, and we bless God for that. The most money I've earned in a day, not so much money, around 3 to 4 M. The most money I've lost, but yeah, it must have been around 1.2, 1.1 there. What really happened was I got myself into a very bad deal, and then in the process, the remaining one, I had to invest it, I'm telling you the truth, into a pyramid scheme, and I'm telling you that the situation was marambas. It was disastrous, and you don't want to get into details. I know many Kenyans can feel me because I was not alone.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, Saturday verse 2. Yo kwenye mic in the industry. Huku is kuna beats. Zimestand kama lamp. Yo, okay.
Bishop Raha. Mr. Iggy na Daddy Owen.
The people who really helped me, I must say, brilliant DJs who supported me when I was nobody. John Karani, people like Maina Kageni, I think by that time was still even on Nation. Willie M. Tuva, I think even Arthur Kamau, Arthur K. The church has always supported me. Personally, I will give it to the man of God, the Reverend Pius Tembo. There is Pastor Deno of Kenya Assemblies of God, Buruburu, Bishop Ben Bahati, just to mention but a few. When I go off balance, they keep me in check. So my good bro Daddy Owen has always been there for me too, and I really give it up to him. I have a very beautiful lady, and yes, she's really supported me also.
My name's Susan Jokimora, but my stage name is Crystal. Rufftone is my husband to be. He's also my boss in the office because I'm actually the studio manager in Lambston Records. I came looking for a studio to record. So what he used to do, he used to create so many sessions, and I could keep coming and my projects would take so long, and I'm wondering, how come I'm recording one song for 1 year? So yeah, that's how we met. He's such a comedian.
Watu niita Teddy B. Nimejua Raf for some time now. Hizo miaka za kwanza alikuwa kama budangu. Tukaanza kuwaka kanifeel, sasa akakuwa ka bro. Tumeishi naye kwa nyumba moja akiwa comedian. Kwa nyumba ni mse cheerful, mse jovial. Ni mtu mwenye ajam fast, but akijam ni ngoma. Situation kibao nye Raf umejipata kama ni kujam, hiyo ujifungia kwa room. Sijui hiyo uomba ama uimba ama sijui gonga ukuta, but sijui. But akitoka hapo unapata ako okay na situation yenye umefanya, maybe ka ulikuwa wrong, anaku advise.
He's a loving man and a forgiving guy. He never take grudge. I can't grudge. That's one thing I know about Rufftone. That is very, and of course one thing is a very serious guy with God.
In his home, you'll find he plays Christian music, he's reading the word, he encourages you. If he finds you playing funny music on his TV, he's like, hey, apana, you don't do that in this house, you know. Not many Christians are like that.
Kwa kituambia kwa kila kitu ambacho unafanya, weke Mungu kwanza mbele. Alafu hizo mambo zingine zitakuja baadaye.
Anaweza kuwa ni kama parent mwenye anataka mtoto wake awe happy, but meanwhile kuna cha na kijua life pia na ministry na God pia.
I don't know how he does it, but he connects with children and the youth a lot.
I think what has contributed to my success is the fact that one, I believe the fact that I love art, was instilled in me by God. Humility is the best key you can ever have. You must respect everyone, regardless of their status.
The number one thing for him is how you associate with other people, with clients, regardless of their big names or if they are just upcoming artists.
Anatake kila mtu kama mtu. Unajua unaweza enda kwa wase wengine wanakuchukulia vibaya, lakini yeye anaanga kuja tu kama hata wewe ni nani atakuongelesha, mtaelewana.
Success yake imetokea juu ya kujitolea. Kuna project tulikuwa tunafanya I think 2010. Ilikuwa project yenye ilianza bila budget. Kila kitu, kila cent yenye alikuwa nayo alitoa at least hiyo program ianze.
One thing that Rufftone is very aggressive, is a go-getter. He does not fear. When he set his mind in something, that is what he'll do.
The never say die attitude is just amazing. He can be a workaholic at times.
He is a hardworking guy and he's target oriented. If we are out to do 10 videos, we are out to do 10 videos and we have to finish them.
Very strict with jobs.
He doesn't compromise on quality, even if you put him under so much pressure. It doesn't matter if it takes some more time for him to achieve quality. He's so creative. There are times he can give an idea and you're thinking, come to earth. He's usually hands-on. If he wants something to come out in a certain way, if it's a video that's being edited, he really pushes the producer and he sits there.
And when you're editing, he's there editing with you. Sometimes, you know, you're like, hey, please give me space, let me just do my thing. But he'll give you 5 minutes, then he's back again.
The best thing about having money is the freedom it gives you. The Bible says money answers all things, but at the same time is the root of evil. For me, I think money is very good as long as you master it. The perception that people have that if you're a gospel artist or pastor or bishop or a God servant that you shouldn't have money. For me, it is somehow misplaced. When it is about the money other than God, to me I disagree with that. The Bible says, follow Christ and all the rest shall be added unto you. My advice to young people who want to venture into business would be, it is good that you have a life coach. Someone who's done it before you, someone who's not intimidated or, you know, insecure because of your ambitions. Somebody who can be able to detect if the deal is genuine or it's not. If you have them, the prices they paid, you will not have to pay. Nairobi is a very good land full of opportunities. The same ratio, land full of conmen. Just research, and I think education is very vital. Go to school if you want to venture, even if it's music, even if it's business. Now watch the kind of partners you've got. For me, I believe so much in ethics. You know, there are things we can all be on the same page because we've struck a deal. But when the road gets tough, if someone is not strong enough, they'll abandon you with all the bills and all the debts. So you better pick your partners carefully. CEOs, the managers, they make the final call, but their decisions are influenced by what the secretary tells them, how you treat the guard outside the gate before you walk in, and even how you talk to ule mama wa chai. They always say, give us the numbers, we'll give you the money. Basically what they are saying is, give us the people, then we'll give you the money. And the people are the people of kawaida. So you've got to treat them like they're the kings because they are. I would always go for self-employment. I will always talk about self-employment and contracts. If you're in contract, for me that is good. I always say you can always take that contract, then go back to whatever you're doing. And if you're also self-employed, that is also good. I'm not saying I'm against being employed, but that is just not Rufftone for you.
Fanya speedy kabla stima zilost.
Okay. Ongeza kabezi kidogo
Okay, manze, ni kulonzero, roho juu, juu sana. Mtaani, wanauliza nani, anatawala hii mziki, jina ni, alafu tuna, ni happy sing say.
Umsana, wata kujisifu hapa, hivi wata nikushovenya ngoma yudigiwa.
Okay. Me are ready to just mash up the place. Each and every time I think about and they wanna go there over me. If you say that's the only thing that I me love every time. Mr. Iggy ready to flow. Walala, yeah.